Hello everyone. Unfortunately, your host bot under repair is dead. He has contributed much to this channel, however his last couple videos have not produced the results that we wanted. He also got into some trouble on Reddit, Twitter and his YouTube comment section, and that is a no-no for our business, so we killed him and fed him to Michael.
Oof.
I am so sad about this info, we all fucking hated him. Anyways, today I was given the job of finding a new replacement before the cops start looking for the body. Gilgamesh could potentially have a new bot somewhere in his treasury. He has every man-made item ever created, so there's a high chance Cast might be able to give us an alternate version of bot from another world. Hopefully this one has better video ideas. There's also some guy named Ben, but I think he'd rather arrest me than help. Perhaps one of you can replace him. I know where you all live, so I might pay you a visit.
Gilgamesh, Cars, Ben Tennyson. What do these characters have in common? Well, first of all, they have thousands of unique abilities, some of which have the power to reshape the fabric of our planet. Second of all, despite looking like us, they are indeed not human. Gil is a spirit and demigod. Cars is an ancient pillarman, and Ben Tennyson is technically half Ammonite, Adonite. Third of all, each of these characters have very clear egos, believing that their awesome power is far above their enemies, and having absolute confidence that they can take on and beat any potential foe in their way, even if they were sent to Earth by God himself. However, despite their godlike status, they each have their own varying goals. Cars wanted to become the ultimate life form and dominate humanity with his amazing power. Gilgamesh in some stories wished to eradicate humanity and rule over the remnants. However, after hearing this, of course Ben Tennyson would do anything to stop their plans from coming into fruition, and with his Omnitrix, he'll protect humanity no matter the cost. So what happened in these three beacons of perfection in the universe or the battle, who would come out on top? Now before we begin, I just wanted to make two things clear. First, I'll be using the version of Cars from the Jojo novel. While yes, I understand that the book isn't canon, it's been endorsed by the Jojo author Araki himself, which is pretty much a seal of approval. If you still don't like the choice, then
discombobulate.
Second of all, the Gilgamesh section of this video will be a replay of my previous Gilgamesh video from a few months back, because I'm way too busy and lazy nowadays to edit this section again. If you don't agree with this choice, then anyways, now that that's out of the way, let's begin. Cars is a pillarman, an ancient race of beings who are much greater than humans in every way. Cars has greater senses than your average man, such as improved sight, hearing, and taste. He can feel several people in a room simply due to their heat signatures. Being a pillarman grants him near immortality, living for thousands of years. Cars is an extremely powerful healing factor, surviving attacks that would instantly kill even the greatest of stand users. This also allows Cars to manipulate his body to a precise degree, achieving a variety of jobs. Cars mainly uses this to create powerful blades on his arm, which are powerful enough to split Cars in half and blind opponents. After achieving ultimate status, Cars' abilities are extended. He now contains the DNA of every living being on the planet and can control his body to mimic their characteristics, such as when he created wings for flight. When Ultimate Cars detaches his body parts, he can transform them into life to help him achieve his goals. Since he's now immune to sunlight, he's now impossible to kill due to his healing factor and adaptation. We all know Cars is powerful, but all these abilities pale in comparison to his ultimate form. Novel Cars was first introduced in a Jojo novel, and his abilities in fact cannot be understated. First of all, he possesses powered-up versions of all his past abilities, which were already formidable on their own. When it comes to raw physical strength, Novel Cars is strong enough to flip entire continents, which may not seem that much compared to other characters, but it's only really a small part of his arsenal. Car's strength extends to lifting power, as he was able to pull 2 moons while running. And even after all that, he wasn't even tired, meaning he could likely pull a lot more without effort. Novel Car's attack potency is low multiverse, meaning his attacks had the capacity to destroy multiple universes and elements within those universes with ease. His attacks were in fact stronger than other beings who have destroyed the universe over 37 times. This extends to his durability, as Cars can take attacks that can destroy the universe and survived 37 universe resets. Even if you manage to kill Cars, a single drop of blood is all that's needed for him to revive. Cars is extremely intelligent, being able to instantly understand complex topics such as the concept of stands and their attributes, even without seeing them before. He fully understood Dio's weaknesses, despite only glancing at him. Cars has no weakness to speak of, so there aren't any known ways to fully defeat him. When it comes to hacks, Cars has claimed to be immune to getting erased from existence, as he would simply find his way back into existence. Cars can perceive and react to attacks within stop time, putting him in league with Act 4 and Star Platinum. Ultimate Cars is likely able to defeat Gold Experience Requiem, as Dio, who scales similarly to Cars, was able to do so. When he fully understands how your stand works, he can simply take it from you. He even convinced Killer Queen to ditch Kira and be his stand instead, as if he put all his skill points into speech and charisma. Cars has upwards of 7 stands. The originals were already powerful, but Cars increased their power to a massive degree. They have Ultimate at the end of their names. Whitesnake Ultimate has the ability to remove stand and memory discs from people. Taking a memory disk is enough to put most into a vegetative state. However, unlike his previous version, Whitesnake Ultimate has the ability to infinitely duplicate stand disks and give them to others. Imagine giving everyone on Earth a version of Wonder of You that would turn the entire Earth into London. However, if Cars attempted to insert a disc related to its ultimate stands into a normal person, they'll immediately explode from the overwhelming power. This is enough to kill even immortal beings like Dio. The Asboot Ultimate is a long-range submarine stand that has the ability to change its size at will. Cars can make it so small that it phases through objects. It can make it so large that it towers over the biggest skyscrapers. The missile scale with the size manipulation, so paired with its power to likely infinitely grow, and Dune Ultimate is pretty much a superior version of the Fool. It controls sand to a precise degree, being able to create many objects with it. It can even use sand in the surrounding area. Cars can turn himself into sand, which allows him to completely avoid being damaged as they'll pass through him. The World Ultimate has all the capabilities of its base form, like its power, speed, and time stop. But unlike its base form, the World Ultimate can stop time for upwards of 1 hour, giving most opponents absolutely no way to fight back. Sea Moon Ultimate isn't all that different from its base form. It makes Cars the center of reverse gravity and repels everything away from him, as if they were falling in that direction. Killer Queen Ultimate can turn anything into a bomb. D4C Ultimate can create portals to alternate worlds whenever it pleases. Bringing alternate universe versions of his opponents can still cause them to be merged and destroyed. Made in Heaven Ultimate Requiem can accelerate time even faster than the original, as Cars used it to cycle through 30 different universes. He also accelerates time for living things. Made in Heaven by nature gives Cars infinite speed, making him difficult to hit.
Whoa! Cool!
The Omnitrix, a sophisticated and multifunctioning device that stuck itself upon Ben's wrist with secrets that it hid. is designed to resemble a wristwatch. Its primary function is allowing its user, Ben Tennyson, to transform into a vast array of alien species by utilizing their DNA, which he can access through a dial-like mechanism that selects the desired alien form when the central button is activated, which he can use to fight threats and solve problems encountered throughout his adventures. The time limit of each alien transformation is typically around 10 minutes, after which the Omnitrix times out and reverts Ben to his human form, necessitating a cooldown period before another transformation can occur. The alien species he's transformed into includes, but are not limited to, 4 arms, possesses immense strength, and 4 powerful arms. Accelerate, capable of moving at incredible speeds. Diamond Head can transform his body into durable crystal and generate crystal weapons. Echo can generate powerful sonic screams and duplicate itself. Big Chill can become intangible and invisible, freeze objects with its breath, and fly with its moth-like wings. Jet Ray can fly at supersonic speeds, survive underwater, and fire lasers from its eyes. Spider Monkey combines the agility and climbing abilities of a monkey with the web-slinging abilities of a spider. Cannonball can roll into a nearly indestructible ball. Feedback's primary ability is to absorb, store, and fire out various forms of energy, including electricity, plasma, and other energy attacks. This absorption is primarily done through the prongs and antenna. These are quite literally a tiny fraction of all the aliens Ben has turned into over the course of the series, and they give Ben a ton of versatility and options in any combat situation. Here are some of the best feats Ben has showcased. Humongosaur is said to be able to lift a Toku star, who are the size of large buildings. Accelerate is so fast that time seems to come to a standstill when it moves. He also dodged beams of light. It is said that Ben can patrol the entire planet in seconds. However, Jet Ray is even faster, as he was able to travel across the entire universe in seconds. Both Gray Matter and Brainstorm give Ben Galaxy Brain. They can make complex calculations on the fly and make basically any advanced technology with a box of scraps. Baby Pyronites are said to be able to generate heat on a level of supernova explosions, so you can guess just how hot an adult can get. Atomics is basically a living nuclear reactor, but that's not what's impressive about it. No, it's the fact it can generate a fully functioning sun in seconds. Gravitac can create black holes with zero effort, and they can become just as large as supermassive black holes in the center of galaxies. Waybig can fire out beams that can damage multidimensional beings. Ultimate Echo can use vibrations that can stop nuclear explosions. Upchuck can eat many suns with the power equivalent to yellow dwarf stars, which are equivalent to our sun, by the way. Clockwork is an alien that can control the concept of time. It can freeze it, slow it down, and even reverse it. The alien can also shoot out a beam that rapidly ages anything it touches. However, its most impressive feat was its ability to nullify the Chronosapien time bomb that could destroy infinite timelines. Clockwork casually undid the damage of a multiverse-destroying attack. However, by far, Ben's greatest feat in the entire series is holding the Annihilarg in his bare hands. For those who don't know, the Annihilarg is a heavily potent and dangerous weapon, described as a device capable of immense destructive power, able to completely annihilate and recreate the entire universe and everything in it. This means it can destroy all matter, energy, space, and time within the universe, effectively ending everything in existence. Using feedback, Ben not only held the Annihilarg's awesome power, but he absorbed it and fired it back out, meaning feedback can contain energy that can destroy all of creation. The Omnitrix also has multiple failsafes. One of them will automatically transform Ben into a specific alien depending on what threat he's facing, and another will revive Ben if he ever happens to die in a battle.
Nothing except gray matter. Oh man, give me a break.
我が拝謁の栄によくしてなおこの綿棒を見知らぬと申すなら そんな猛米は生かしておく価値すらない。
These are Gilgamesh's Gates of Babylon, one of his many noble phantasms, a sort of portal that acts as a bridge between the real world and his treasury. When the golden portals, which are termed as his divine gates, manifest, Gil can take out any and all items stored within said treasury, which contain every item he's collected over his lifetime. What's stored within? Well, it ranges from weapons, food, and vehicles. Since Gilgamesh is known to have collected every treasure on his journeys, the treasury contains most if not every man-made item to have ever been created, even those that are yet to exist. Remember when I said that the gates are just one of his noble phantasms? Well, since the treasury contains every item ever created by mankind, that also means Gil has access to every noble phantasm or power we've seen in the series. Some create wind, conjure lightning, manifest earthquakes, create domain expansions, reality marbles, or channel the power of the sun in the palm of his hand. It's not just that he has the noble phantasms themselves, they're in reality the prototype versions the original noble phantasms were derived from. In most cases, the prototype noble phantasms Gil possesses are far stronger than the counterparts held by heroic spirits, so something like a Bolg or Excalibur would be contained and do 2 times the damage. You'd think Gilgamesh would easily wield all these weapons in each hand, like Zorro on steroids, but it seems at some point, Gilgamesh realized he could use his gates like a trans-dimensional gun, because that quickly became his main form of attack. When Gilgamesh manifests his gates, he's able to fire the weapons in his treasury at speeds about 3,000 kilometers per hour. The number of weapons he can fire from his treasury include swords, axes, spears, and hammers, each having different ranks. The idea of him firing these at servants doesn't seem that daunting. After all, they've overcome even tougher trials in their legends. But there's 2 factors of the gates utilization that makes Gil a formidable opponent. One is the versatility of the gates themselves. Gil can open hundreds if not thousands of gates at a given time, each of which can fire their own arsenal of weapons, as if an opponent was facing down an army of overpowered archers. These gates can be opened anywhere on the battlefield, not just stylishly behind Gilgamesh, so most will have to keep a constant eye on their surroundings, unless Gil surrounds them with a wall of gates from all directions. Most hit extremely hard, capable of easily pushing back incredibly strong servants like Heracles. The weapons fired move at incredibly high speeds, which can overwhelm a servant if they're not careful. But Gilgamesh can spam these gates as if they were a machine gun, so most wouldn't be able to handle the onslaught. The amount of weapons Gil possesses is so vast that even Gil doesn't know the true number, but it likely approaches the realm of infinite. Despite this fact, the weapons he fires quickly returns to the treasury, and they can then be fired again. So in most cases, he doesn't even need to fully utilize his treasury. The second factor of the gates that makes them incredibly dangerous are the weapons stored within. Sure, a vast majority are pretty typical, but that doesn't take into account those that have special effects and full-on noble phantasms. If a servant chose to take on the gate's onslaught of weapons, it would be wise to go on the defensive, because not only are there weapons with certain effects like poison, acid, or paralysis imbued into them, but because any potential noble phantasms that could get fired by chance could possess the power to one-shot, nullify powers, turn off regeneration, or even the power to sever a servant's ties to their master, or even their spiritual form. Even if a servant dodges, blocks, or parries, the weapons have been shown to explode on some occasions. It's no wonder Gilgamesh is considered the strongest archer-class servant. Weapons aren't the only thing Gilgamesh can utilize. The gates have been shown to possess magical spells. The caster variant of Gilgamesh is one who utilizes this aspect of the gates the most. Many staves, wands, and mystic codes poke through the gates, which can then fire a variety of spells at opponents. Although nowhere near as strong as his normal method, these spells still increase Gil's overall attack versatility. Gilgamesh can even utilize elements like fire and ice, since Gilgamesh can control the size of his gates, which allows stronger treasures to pass through. He can also open portals that fire out massive elemental attacks. The Gates of Babylon also have defensive capabilities, like a variety of magic and physical shields that block a variety of spells, projectiles, and physical attacks, and at times even the gates themselves can be used for protection. Despite how powerful the gates are, they still have a handful of weaknesses. Gil has a tendency of using weaker treasures when fighting opponents. There do exist some servants that can withstand or even nullify these weaker treasures, so in these rare cases, he's forced to pick out higher tier treasures. But despite this, he's often able to exploit a servant's weakness by picking out the treasures that can exploit or take advantage of their weaknesses. A list of other things the gates contain are a variety of foods and drinks, command seals just in case a master's running low, a belt just in case he feels like becoming a dad, a mist that attracts monsters towards him, jewelry, vehicles, a spell book capable of launching powerful spells, a potion which can turn its user young again, video games, entire buildings, and many, many more. And because Gilgamesh is said to have the largest mana pool of any servant in the series, it's fully possible they can spam these gates for hours without stopping. Even though Gilgamesh possesses thousands of noble phantasms, there exist 3 powerful ones he uses the most. The first are the Chains of Enkidu. Being both named after his only friend and described as his most trusted noble phantasm, the Chains of Enkidu's main purpose is to immobilize. The chains launch out of Gilgamesh's gates and attempt to bind the target. Once a foe is caught within them, they are violently held in place. This is to the point that even someone like Heracles, who could smash through buildings like they were nothing, could barely get them to budge. The strength of the chains scale with the divinity of those Gilgamesh is fighting, so the closer one is to being a god, the stronger the chains get. Because of their sharp tips, they can be used as piercing weapons. The base of the chains can also endlessly extend from multiple gates, giving Gilgamesh the power to create a maze of multiple chains. And since the chains can move at high speeds, they are often used as effective defensive tools. Also known as the Sword of Rupture, Ea is a weapon forged before the existence of life itself, or before the concept of a sword even came into form. It's made up of 3 cylindrical pillars that represent the heavens, earth, and the underworld, which come together to represent the cosmos. The sword's nature is what one might call primordial. The power and aura it entails is one that cannot be replicated. Ea is one of, if not the strongest noble phantasm in the series. But what exactly makes this sword so powerful? Ea has many forms of attack. The most common turns Ea into the center of a raging storm. When the 3 cylindrical pillars of Ea begin spinning, it generates violent winds that rip apart everything in its surroundings. But this is just a casual and most basic utilization of Ea. Gilgamesh's most powerful attack is coined Enuma Elish, the star of creation that split heaven and earth. Gilgamesh concentrates Ea's energy into a singular blast, which is basically an instant win button against 90% of servants in the series. The attacks created by Ea are compressed winds that become capable of distorting and severing space and time. They are a chaotic and primordial storm that attack and obliterate everything in their path, regardless of if it's friend or foe. Enuma Elish shakes the boundaries of creation itself, which makes it an almost undefeatable power, unless you possess certain weapons, magics, or armors capable of blocking or negating it. Even reality marbles, which send opponents into another dimension, are instantly ripped apart and destroyed by Ea. Ea is classified as an anti-world noble phantasm, which doesn't necessarily mean that it can destroy a planet, but does mean that its range is enough to shake the planet's foundations and even destroy a good degree of its surroundings. Gilgamesh dons a set of golden armor, which can materialize at will. It's durable enough to block multiple strikes from Saber and special destructive techniques. Gilgamesh will specifically wear this against foes he deems to be worthy, but sometimes it's just there to make him look cool. The only thing notable about the armor is that it both raises magic resistance and is extremely useful against evil spirits. Otherwise, the armor won't really make or break a combat encounter. There exists a variety of other noble phantasms Gilgamesh uses on occasion. He possesses some kind of levitation noble phantasm, allowing him to hover and fly for extended periods of time. He has a futuristic ship, which is set to fly at the speed of thought, which honestly doesn't make any sense, but it can easily outspeed any aircraft in mankind's arsenal. It also possesses a variety of weapons like machine guns, missiles, bombs, lasers, and even nuclear warheads. Sure, his divine gates are formidable, but Gilgamesh still has many tricks up his sleeve that makes him a powerful opponent. The omniscient, omnipotent star is a clairvoyant type noble phantasm, and is said to easily peer through heavily concealed truths. With a single glance at certain servants, he's able to immediately recall the true name of their noble phantasm. He can precisely calculate the amount of projectiles launching towards him. He can discern that Archer's abilities work similar to his own divine gates, and even realize that he and Shiro were the same person. He can gauge the strength and skill of an opponent, which can dictate the level of effort he puts in. His reaction speeds are immense. He was effortlessly able to dodge multiple close-range strikes from Heracles, a servant who pushed other servants like Saber and Archer to their limits, all without even a hint of doubt in his mind. Other servants with high speed feats like Cuchulainn, especially, would have had a hard time landing a hit. When projectile attacks are only moments from striking him or his allies, his reaction speeds are fast enough to deflect them, even with his bare hands. Gilgamesh's swordsmanship and stamina also deserve some praise. Not only could he match Saber for a short while, but he had enough stamina to fight Enkidu for several days without stopping, so no, closing in on Gilgamesh wouldn't be an instant W. The most ideal version of Gilgamesh would be able to combine his physical prowess with his divine gates.
The many noble phantasms within his treasury give him access to many tools of mass destruction that could turn the tides in his favor if he actually used them for their intended purpose. That's why in a fight with Saber Ultor, for example, normally Gilgamesh would win with his usual strategy, but if they potentially closed the distance, his reaction speed and sword skills wouldn't be enough to save him. Sure, he could just pull out Ea, but that's the problem. He'll never use his trump card or other abilities to their fullest. Gilgamesh's ego surpasses his own strength. Getting covered in the grail mud didn't even alter his own personality, because he's too full of himself to ever be controlled. When his legs were eaten by Dog Sakura, not only did he not react to the obvious pain, but was more upset by the fact that he was slightly kneeling before someone else. Gilgamesh is the type of guy to terminate you just for looking at him funny. Gilgamesh is the most powerful servant in the Fate series. The combination of Ea and his divine gates easily allows him to take down 90% of servants in the series. It's just unfortunate that his ego prevents him from using them to their full potential. So the next time you see Gilgamesh get bodied by a weaker servant, he probably would have won if he pulled out the big red sword.
In a battle between Ben and novel Cars, I think Cars has a clear advantage. Now look, I know Ben has a plethora of alien transformations, but a lot of them would be outright useless against Cars. First of all, he's almost immortal and can come back from anything you throw at him, even if it erases him from existence. He has the World Ultimate that can stop time for 1 hour, which is plenty of time to dispatch Ben. He can use Made in Heaven Ultimate Requiem to speed blitz Ben easily. And even if Ben uses Accelerate or Jet Ray, Made in Heaven has infinite speed, meaning he could easily become faster than both aliens and end the universe in seconds. Cars could travel back in time with Killer Queen Bites the Dust to when Ben was a baby and smash him into bits. I know Ben has clockwork, but if he doesn't happen to be using them at the time Cars activates any of his abilities, he's pretty much screwed. Let's not forget Cars' base ability. As an ultimate life form, he can transform and take on the characteristics of any animal. They never said it was restricted to the animals and creatures living on Earth, and Cars' abilities are massively increased in the novel. I'm guessing you already figured out what I'm trying to say. Cars can take on the characteristics and outright copy the alien forms Ben transforms into. Cars is the ultimate life form and can quite easily reach the full potential of anything he copies, such as when he masters stand abilities the instant he learned about them. So he could use Ben's aliens just as well or even better than Ben can. Even if Ben got a really good alien the first time, like Clockwork or Gravitack, Cars can just copy them and blitz Ben or nullify his time manipulation with his plot armor and powerful stands. Gilgamesh might be able to overwhelm Ben just as well, but to a slightly lesser extent. He has many noble phantasms, each of which has many abilities that could be a problem. If Ben chooses the wrong alien for the job, like Upchuck, Grey Matter, Echo, Gilgamesh would simply decimate them with his gates.
Let's see how tough they are picking on Heat Blast.
If Ben were to transform into Ghost Freak to phase out of the attacks, Gilgamesh has a noble phantasm that can hurt intangible beings. That's the thing about Gilgamesh in this battle. No matter what alien Ben transforms into, Gil will always have the perfect counter to its ability. An alien that can create dimensions? Ea. Aliens that are really fast? Gabolg. Aliens that can one-shot? How about a noble phantasm that can one-shot? Heat Blast can generate supernova level heat? Well, here's a noble phantasm that can lower the temperature of anything it touches. Ben can dodge and weave through Gilgamesh's gates however many times he wants. But let's not forget that his transformations have a 10-minute time limit, leaving him vulnerable after the timer runs out. Even if Ben were to kill Gilgamesh in this battle, his nature as a heroic spirit means he can't truly die, and unless Ben can erase him from the throne of heroes, Gil will keep coming back through a variety of means. I believe that in a battle between Cars and Gil, novel Cars has a clear advantage. This is due to many factors. First of all, Cars' speed. Remember, with Made in Heaven Ultimate Requiem, Cars has infinite speed that far surpasses any measurement of time in our universe. The universe can start and end in literally less than a millisecond, so Gilgamesh will get blitzed incredibly quickly. even if he were to use his precognition. Sea Moon Ultimate Requiem can easily reverse the flow of gravity, preventing Gil's weapons from hitting him accurately. The only thing Gilgamesh is immune to is the effects of Killer Queen Bites the Dust, since Yorick spirits exist outside the flow of time, and the fact that Gilgamesh's precognition allows him to look into alternate worlds and timelines. Gil will need to take out Cars as soon as possible with any of the weapons he has at his disposal, but just like Gil, Cars is immune to death. If he were to be obliterated with no traces of his body left, he'd still come back from it. The worst part of all this is Cars' nature as an ultimate life form, capable of understanding any concept instantaneously, no matter how powerful they are. This same man learned about the concept of stands and somehow powered them up to an insane degree. So imagine Cars learning about heroic spirits and somehow summoning a top tier one, or maybe several top tiers, and powering them up like he did with stand abilities. And if you think that wouldn't work, Cars can just use D4C to bring him thousands of different cars with his insane abilities to jump Gil. Or you can just recruit a Virgin Archwade or Neko Archwade and just sit down and relax. So, with all that said, and taking everything into account, when unstoppable forces collide, Novel Cars takes the W. There's no real point in debating this. Ben Tennyson absolutely destroys both Cars and Gilgamesh with ease. This is for two main reasons: Master Control and Alien X. You see, the Omnitrix we all know is a heavily nerfed version with many drawbacks, such as a time limit and cooldown for every alien, and the fact that he has to manually select each. However, with Master Control, all these limitations are removed. This not only allows Ben to switch between every alien with a simple thought in less than a second, but he can also stay in these alien transformations forever. So in a battle against Gilgamesh, it doesn't matter if Gil has weapons for every situation. Ben can easily transform and switch his aliens on the fly in rapid succession. He can use Accelerate or Jet Ray to dodge the barrage, Ghost Freak to phase through any entrapment attempts. If Gilgamesh tries to use his precognition, Ben can use Clockwork to disrupt his readings of the future. He can use Upgrade to take control of any tech-based noble phantasm. After enough time, Gilgamesh will probably use Ea in an attempt to end the fight quickly, but that would be a big mistake, as feedback could easily absorb the attack and fire it back towards Gilgamesh. If Ben doesn't feel like doing any of that work, he can transform into gray matter, create a new Omnitrix, and activate its self-destruct feature. The self-destruct feature of the Omnitrix can cause an explosion as big as a Big Bang explosion, capable of destroying the entire universe, and gray matter can create this with a box of scraps.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps!
Cars will be a lot more difficult for Ben to take down due to his role as an ultimate life form and his borderline godly abilities. He could use the Omnitrix scanning ability to scan Cars' DNA and transform into a Pillarman, but a lot of Cars' abilities are only possible due to the Stone Mask, which Ben wouldn't have access to. But you know what they say, sometimes you gotta fight fire with fire, and thankfully Ben has the right alien for the job. Alien X, one of the most formidable beings in the Ben 10 universe. It's a celestial sapien, an alien race characterized with a black, star-dotted body symbolizing the cosmos. Possessing virtually omnipotent abilities, Alien X can create or annihilate matter and energy effortlessly. This means it can bring objects, beings, and entire landscapes into existence or erase them completely. It can modify or entirely rewrite the laws of physics, enabling it to alter gravity, time, and space as it desires. For instance, Alien X can make water flow uphill or change the nature of light. Alien X is literally invincible from all forms of harm. You can launch an attack that can destroy all of existence and infinite timelines, and Alien X wouldn't even flinch. He can then simply recreate the entire universe like it was nothing. So yeah, you can see how Ben would absolutely destroy Novel Cars and Gilgamesh at the same time. Gilgamesh wouldn't even be able to open his gates, as Alien X would erase them the split second they are summoned. Most of the noble phantasms he has at his disposal will be no stronger than a Nerf dart. Gilgamesh's fight with Alien X is like fighting God, not like the typical gods he knows, but an actual god who can rewrite reality. There's nothing in his arsenal that could hope to stop his advance, as Alien X could change and rewrite every one of Gilgamesh's attacks with literally no effort. However, I don't think Alien X could permanently kill Gil, due to the reality-bending nature of the counterforce. Cars will likely be easy prey for Alien X. Stands like Made in Heaven, Ultimate Requiem can be made as slow as a water bear. Killer Queen's time travel wouldn't work, as Alien X would remember everything. The world's time stop wouldn't work, since Alien X would likely move around in the universe's time stop. If Cars attempted to escape or utilize another universe, Alien X could easily pursue Cars to the dimension, or simply prevent Cars from activating his stand ability. The only chance Cars has is to transform into Alien X with his ultimate abilities, but there's a slight issue. Alien X will know this is going to happen the instant Ben enters the form, because Alien X can likely see into the future and process information much faster and more efficient than any being in the Jojo universe, both canon and non-canon. Alien X will simply erase Cars from existence. If Cars claims he can come back, just erase the very concept of his being, thus preventing its outcome. If that still doesn't work, Ben could simply create an Alien X clone whose sole job is to erase Cars every time he tries to revive. I'm sorry, but once Ben pulls out Alien X, there's absolutely no way Gilgamesh or Cars have a chance of winning. They are fighting a literal reality-controlling entity capable of literally anything, and tanking and reality-destroying attacks. Cars and Gil were better off taking their L's at the end of their respective series. But hey, at the end of the day, Ben is just a kid, and he wants to have fun. But when you need a superhero, he gets the job done.
Ben, I think you owe your cousin a big-time thanks.
And some big-time get-backs. Maybe a face full of stinkfly goop, or a tangle of wildvine tendrils, or...
Gray matter? Oh no! I forgot I zeroed out the master control!